time here as usual for people to hop on before we get started. Happy, what is today? I believe it's the 16th today. Yes, we're one day away from Mercury retrograde in Leo, so we're going to be talking a little bit about that today. We're going to be just catching up, seeing how everyone's doing. We've had some crazy solar flares over the past few days. It's been a pretty wild and eventful week, I think, just energetically speaking. So I'm interested to see how everybody's doing and how everybody's feeling these energies as people begin to hop on. And let me double check while I'm waiting for people to hop on here. My internet connection, just make sure we're connected to the right internet. There we go. There we go. Now we're connected to the right one. I don't know what it is with my hair. It's just, well, so many things, but it's just always falling backwards. You know what I mean? So I'm going to fix that while we're waiting for people to get onto, trying to get it like on the top of my head more here. Hello, Ty. Hello, Dee. Hello, Annika. Welcome, 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 my beautiful people. Let me know how you guys are feeling. I feel as though, and I'm not sure if it's been ongoing or if it's just beginning now, but I feel like I'm going through a whole nother paradigm shift right now. Like a dark night of the soul energy. And the funny thing about dark nights of the soul, like after maybe our initial dark night of the soul, is that they tend to be a lot more subtle. And so we don't always recognize them until they're over. And I feel as though I'm in a sort of dark night of the soul energy right now in a lot of ways. And it's because a brand new paradigm is birthing within me. There's another layer of illusion that's shedding. And as I'm speaking of this, I'm being called to remember that Neptune is in retrograde and stationed retrograde on the 4th of July, right? And the 4th of July, like, yes, this is a very American perspective. So forgive me, those who exist in other countries. However, like from that perspective, right, during the Syrian gateway as well, the Sirius is connected with liberation and freedom. And with Pluto retrograding across Altair, the fixed star that is also representative of independence and freedom. There's this real energy of Neptune removing the veil or the illusions related to our own sovereignty and our own freedom. So the way this is occurring for me is that another layer of truth is being revealed. And what another layer of truth for me means, yes, truth within myself, but also another layer of truth as far as like the depth of the false matrix, how deep it goes, and what it truly means to be sovereign and free within that, and where that sovereignty and freedom comes from and how we tap into that. So I'm not going to share too much on all of that right now. Like I said, I'm in the middle of this paradigm shift. So we're going to see what comes of it. I did share a video tonight in the community playlist that everyone, I would recommend everyone check out. I almost should it all over you guys. I won't say everyone should check out. That I urge everyone to check out in the community tab this woman who I stumbled upon during this next paradigm shift of mine that really, I mean, a lot of the stuff that she says is the stuff that I kind of ignored up until now because I didn't really want to look at it. You know, stuff about like the falseness of the moon and stars that we see being a fixed hologram, right? Where the true stars are hidden from our view and our perspective. So she goes really deep into stuff, but she talks about the false alien invasion, which is one of the final false flags, which may or may not occur, right? And we never want to get so emotional when we're thinking about a possible timeline that we call it into existence through our emotion. So if I say something like that and it immediately sparks fear or something in you, maybe don't watch that video. But if I say that and you're like, ooh, I had heard about that, or ooh, I'm curious to learn more about that. I shared her video on that because that is one of the last false flag events that they have been planning for quite some time, is the false alien invasion or the false coming of an alien savior. So we want to be aware of that. We want to be aware of all the little things that they're doing, right? All the ways that we're being tricked into giving away our sovereignty. Because remember, the heart is the portal to the fifth dimension. Everything is inside of you. You are God. You are that flame, right? You are the eternal source flame. All right. So everything comes back to that. And so that's what I really liked. I can't remember her name, but like I said, she's in the videos, the community tab. Mspiracy, I think is what she calls herself. But she talks a lot about the source flame. All right. And that energy of the flame has always been so powerful. All of you watching this channel, you are natural alchemists. That's why the energy and the essence of the flame calls to you so much. And because you remember that true source flame from which you came. All right. So it's about igniting that within us, igniting our own sovereignty, standing strong in that, and not allowing ourselves to be fooled. Because remember, false light mimics love. All right. It mimics those frequencies. And so it can be very deceiving, but there's an emptiness to it if you really tap into it. And there's always some sort of string, so to speak. There's a string attached. There's always some sort of way that the false light is trying to convince you to give away your sovereignty, to give away your power. So just recognize that and remember that. But yeah. So really interesting with the next paradigm shift, with so much just this next level of initiation into becoming the creator of my own reality. I'm getting ready to start a brand new channel. I am right now manifesting the resources in order to really get going with that. Which is to say, working on my own belief systems, limiting belief systems, and releasing the resistance within myself, releasing the belief systems within myself that say that I don't have enough time, that I don't have enough resources, right? Remembering that I am infinite, remembering that the universe is infinite, and because I am the universe, have access to everything that I need. It's always within me, you know? So I'm in that process right now, but it's going to be all about my reality creation process, everything that I'm learning as I create my own reality, as I manifest my abundance, because I know that that is something that a lot of people on this channel truly desire. That's I think a lot of people that I serve, a lot of this community that I serve, I think are in that same boat that I am, of wanting to create that, and really, you know, stumbling up against all the things that light workers stumble up against as we are releasing all these old paradigms related to wealth, related to abundance, related to freedom, what it truly means to be sovereign and free. And abundance in the material world is an aspect of that sovereignty, of that freedom. So it's all tied in together, and I think it's going to be really fun. So I think I will, once I get that all set up, I wanted to get started on that today, but I have not yet. I was working with my email list and getting more information out about the retreat in Sedona. I'm so excited about that. So hopefully some of you will be joining. The registration is still open. We still have some spots available in the Airbnb. And of course, the meetup has infinite openness. You know, anybody who wants to can come join the meetup. You sign up on the sign-in sheet. There's a small donation. And then you will be able to join us daily from the 9/9 to the 9/11 as we travel through Sedona, as we travel to some of these power places, activate the earth, receive activations from her, and remember the truth and the beauty of who we are. In fun, fellowship, play. It's going to be so incredibly beautiful. I am so excited to see who signs up for that. So excited for who we have coming already. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Sedona is my favorite place in the whole world so far. So far. There's a lot more places to see, but up until this point, it is the most magical place that I have been. So I'm enjoying. What better place, I figured, to tap even more deeply into my own magic and to assist other people in tapping into theirs. Oh, it's going to be amazing, Julie. Welcome, by the way. Welcome, Pharaoh Elf. Welcome, Joe. The owls are here. I'm not sure what that means, but I love owls. Absolutely. David K, hello. Yes, I absolutely have read The Secret. And The Secret was actually one of the books that started me on my journey of exploring the laws of the universe, of exploring creation. And really, like, there was such a magical element that was, it was like a layer of remembrance that was unlocked within me as I started reading that book. It was really, truly powerful. And so I love working with that in conjunction with the other laws, of course. There's a lot more to it than what they say in The Secret. It kind of just gives you a beginning. It's like a beginner's, it's like, it gives you the taste, right? Where you're like, oh my God, I remember that. That's true. That's real. And then it invites you to go deeper. And if you really, truly want to manifest successfully, you got to go deeper than what's in The Secret, but it's a great place to start. And it's a great place to at least begin introducing you to some of the ways that I'd say the universe works, also to some of the ways that the false matrix works. And this is another part of the paradigm shift that I'm experiencing right now, is kind of like beginning to understand the difference and to notice the way that the false matrix works with, but also sort of like inverts some of the laws of the universe. So it's interesting. It's like we're playing quite a fascinating game here on this planet. All right. But there is, like, every game, you can beat every game. We'll put it that way, right? No game is unbeatable. Okay, it's just this particular game takes a certain level of skill to master. But master it we will, because that's what we came here to do. Not only did we come here to master this game, we came here to break this game, right? We came here to break free of this game and to break everybody else free to whatever level of sovereignty, level of willingness they have, right? All right. We came here to rewrite the code of this game and to make it our own, to take control back, right? All right. Hello, Stevie. I saw you on here. D, of course. Yeah, that full moon in Capricorn. Hello, Plune. Who's been feeling that full moon in Capricorn as well? I've definitely been feeling it very strongly, like after the full moon, especially. And hello, Nelly, by the way. I felt very, after the full moon completed itself, like motivated. All of a sudden, all of these plans started coming through, all of these different things that I wanted to do, all of these inspirations and downloads, you might say. So I thought it was really interesting. I felt like I really needed to take a break. I was really ready to unplug for the most part for the whole summer and just focus on my family, just focus on the home, just, you know, like I felt like I needed that vacation. I needed that breather. And then the full moon in Capricorn happened, and all of a sudden all these other downloads started coming through, and all of these projects and these ideas and this fresh wave of inspiration. So I don't know how you all experienced that, but I was really surprised by that. And it kind of like relit the fire under my ass. So we'll see what happens here. Plune, I would love to meet in Egypt. That is definitely something that I'm looking forward to building. Unfortunately, my belief level in how many people would actually show up for that versus how much it would cost me to put on if they don't show up has prevented me from planning an Egypt retreat yet. Because there's a lot that has to go out in advance to plan that. And this is kind of like my tester with Sedona to see how many people are really interested in meeting up. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people said they wanted to go to Sedona, and so far, I mean, we're gonna see what happens. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people say things, but when it comes to the actual doing of them, that's a whole different thing. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that all goes. I would love to put that together for 2027. Maybe I should have gone for the big one. Maybe more people would be interested in something big like Egypt. It's also kind of seeing what happens with my son. You know what I mean? Because he's not really at the age where he's able to go do stuff like that. He's 3. So he like bringing him on things just doesn't work right now, just because his attention span is low. He doesn't like being away from home for too long. He needs his little comforts. You know what I mean? So there are family considerations as well. It's really got to be something where all the pieces come together perfectly So I'm waiting to see if that is going to align itself or not. But my desire was to do 2027, Egypt in 2027, during that total solar eclipse that is part of that final set of Hepton cycle eclipses that I talked about in the video that I made back in April of last year. And if you guys didn't catch that video, look through my old videos. It's about I'm trying to remember what the title of it was, but it's about the Alpha and the Omega that were drawn over the United States. It's about the last two eclipses in that cycle that form an X over Egypt and the Middle East. 2027 is the first one that goes across Egypt. 2034 is the second one, which traces back across part of Egypt and also goes through Mecca, Medina, Tibet, all of these holy places. And the crosshairs of those two eclipses are right in the Red Sea, right below Luxor, Egypt. It's so powerful. And the two eclipses in that Hepton cycle within the United States, the 2018 and April 2024 eclipses, the nexus point of the cross that they created over the United States was a town that is referred to as Little Egypt in the United States. So there's lots of crazy stuff in that video, you guys. It was effing wild. So check that out. But yeah, I would love to do that for everyone in 2027. But like I said, it involves reserving something way ahead of time and, putting out all the money for that ahead. And it's a gamble. You know what I mean? So I took a smaller gamble first, and we'll see how this one goes. And then we'll see what 2027 looks like. Yeah. 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 I know this is a hard time for people too. A lot of people are struggling. This is why I'm creating the manifestation channel, the reality creation channel. The word manifestation is so overused in the spiritual community. You know what I mean? It's become like a buzzword that doesn't really have any value, any substance left to it. So reality creation, that's what I'm going to be calling it. Reality creation. All right. So I'll let you guys know when the videos for that start dropping. And it's just going to be kind of like a live journaling in a sense of the things that I'm learning, all the tools that I'm using. And eventually a course will come out of it once I have mastered this. And so you guys get to be within the process, maybe going along with me, sort of as that first frontier as we explore creating our realities and continuing to do so. Hello, Michael. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Stevie. Yeah. Sedona is amazing. It's so incredibly beautiful. It is the entire town of Sedona is essentially within a vortex of energy. It's where all these ley lines converge. It's one of the most energetically powerful places in the United States, right in alignment with the Grand Canyon, this energy of Sedona. It also has ley lines that connect it to Machu Picchu, which is the sacral center of the planet. So Sedona is very much a birthing energy, an energy of creation, of that sacred womb energy of the planet. It's just so, the way that I described Sedona to people was, it feels like you are in a sound bath, but it's just energy. And you see the energy just radiating through. And we're definitely going to do at least one live stream from Sedona. Yes, absolutely, Stevie. So that everybody can be present with us within the energies. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be like just us coming live while we're on a hike, or doing a meditation with everyone, like once we settle into a spot, or doing it from the Airbnb for those who come on the retreat portion. But we'll definitely do something for everybody from Sedona while we are there. Absolutely. Now, what else did I want to say? We're talking, I think it's so funny. Somebody just mentioned Carnegie. Who was that mentioned Carnegie? Was it David? So I think Dale Carnegie. So was Dale Carnegie, was he involved with the steel industry back in the early days of the United States? Is that the same Carnegie that you're talking about? So I am reading this book. It is one of the most popular books about mindset and reality creation. It's called Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, the author studied, he did these case studies. I think it was like 100 of the most successful people in the world, and that came from nothing and became multimillionaires and billionaires and all of this. And Carnegie, there was a story that involved Carnegie. It was about the creation of the U.S. Steel Company, which was one of the biggest companies in the U.S. And the man that came up with the idea for that collaborative company was an employee of Carnegie's. And so he had to convince him to sell his company to allow it to become part of this greater sort of what eventually turned into a monopoly. You know what I mean? Essentially, where they really took over the steel industry in the United States. But he was like the brains behind it, was this employee of Carnegie's. So I just think that's so funny that that you mentioned him, right? Just like you were thinking about Sedona and I just mentioned Sedona. It's just so funny how we call these things into our experience, right? Because we are the creators of our reality. So I don't know, it's just powerful. All right. Hello, Tammy. How to swim with the sharks. There's actually a documentary on Netflix about this woman who swims with sharks that I started watching the other day. My son wasn't super into it, so I ended up having to turn it off. I don't get to watch a lot of TV that I want to watch these days. It's all about him for the most part. By the time it's free, like I'm ready for bed, you know. He watches a lot of educational stuff, you know, probably more than he should, but you know, nobody's perfect. No parent's perfect, you know what I mean? He's like a little sponge though, so he absorbs all of the Oh, Carnegie wrote the book. Really? See, it shows how much I pay attention. So it was a different Carnegie that he was talking about then. Really? Interesting. Hold on, let me look that up for a second. But anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that was a documentary that I really wanted to watch, was the about the girl who swims with sharks. She's like a conservationist, but the way she brings attention to the topic of conservation is by taking these crazy videos and photos of her literally swimming with these sharks. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's just, you know, just the visuals of it alone. So I'm really looking forward to being able to kind of like watch her story, but it's really inspiring. So then it couldn't have been the same person. Okay, no. So Think and Grow Rich was written by Napoleon Hill and Rosa Lee Beeland. That's who wrote the book. But Carnegie was mentioned in the book. If that is the same Carnegie that I'm thinking of. Let's see, hold on. Andrew Carnegie. All right, so Dale Carnegie's different. Dale Carnegie is a writer, though. Andrew Carnegie was the steelwork person. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like he was a motivational speaker, because it says Dale Carnegie trainings, courses. Yeah. So Carnegie's a very distinguished name. There are all sorts of people who've accomplished all different types of things with the name of Carnegie here. Yeah. Yeah. But how funny. All right. Should we talk about some astrology? Should we? Oh, we probably should, right? I mean, there is no should, really. We can talk about whatever we want. We will, though. We will. So, we had that powerful full moon in Capricorn, right? So, as I said, I know for me personally, after the full moon, it really started getting me thinking on these Capricornian themes of success and motivation. Really got me wanting to move forward with a lot of things, relit that fire within me. With all these ideas for new projects and different things that I am ready to create, like what I've shared with you guys about the reality creation. So we're really moving forward from that with a lot of new ideas, with a lot of new inspiration. For some people, perhaps with new strategies or being guided to create strategies, to really look at our time, make sure that we are using our energy wisely, make sure that we are taking actions toward our goals. And really with that full moon in Capricorn type energy, we're being called to look at everything we do. Is this taking me closer to the version of reality that I wish to align with, or is it moving me further away? It's always doing one thing or the other. And so it's about getting really honest with ourselves about which direction each action that we take is bringing us in. Not only each action, each thought. There's so much right now I can't even speak right now. Mercury retrograde. Hello. Yeah, right. This is me all the time. You guys know it. What was I trying to say there? Mastering your mindset, how important that is, the thoughts that we're thinking and the words that we're speaking. Really understanding that. Understanding it doesn't mean like, obviously we're not going to be perfect. Obviously we're going to have these times where our minds run away with us. We're going to have days where we're purging, where we're releasing, where we're going into these darker emotions and energies and thoughts, right? Like I told you guys at the beginning of this, I'm going through my own mini dark night of the soul right now. So what that looks like is days where I feel completely defeated, where every thought that runs through my mind is negative, where I just find myself in that spiral of energy. But what I've realized is that there's a huge level of purging and releasing that's going on. And there's a great level of contrast because it's showing me the energy that I'm not interested in being in anymore, right? When I come out of it, I'm like, whew. And even when I'm in it, it's giving me an opportunity to switch that energy, to flip that energy, to flip the script on that energy, to be like, I can choose. Honestly, a lot of times it's not even I can choose better thoughts. It's like I can choose to stop thinking at all and just be present in the moment. That's been a great tool of mine lately, right? Because, I mean, it's ridiculous the way that our thoughts kind of like hold us hostage. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's like just releasing all the thoughts and being present has worked best for me. But something that Spirit has been bringing into my awareness, and when I say Spirit, I really mean my own higher self. I really want to clarify that, because I feel like even a lot of the stuff that we talk about on here a lot of times is, in a sense, giving our power away to something else, right? When we say Spirit, when we pray to Spirit, right? When we pray to our guardian angels, our guides, we're giving our power away. All right. So it's like my own higher self. We'll say that. So my own higher self has been bringing into my awareness the fact that even if, say I'm having one of those kind of negative spirals and my mind is running away with me, if I can spend 5 minutes in my heart, visualizing what I do want, feeling gratitude, feeling joy, those 5 minutes of really heightened emotion and visualization can cancel out a whole lot of that negative background chatter running through the mind, especially if I don't emotionally attach to it. Now that's easier said than done. I'm very much emotionally attached to it. Like in this past week, I found myself doing that. And I've just been like, okay, this is what's happening. Honestly, is like where I go with it sometimes, is just, let me run this tape through. Let me play out this cycle and get rid of it and move through it. You know what I mean? So I check the comments for a second here. Yeah. But that's the energy, right? Of giving away our power. That's what I am very, very seriously looking at, is all the ways where I give away my power. You know, all the ways where I thank something outside of myself. All the ways where I put my faith in something outside of myself. God is in here. Because remember, we are in a false matrix, which means that there's a false God that has been constructed, that people have been instructed to worship. And that false God is siphoning our energy if we allow it. All right? The true God, true source consciousness is an infinite, everlasting consciousness. It's an infinite, everlasting flame from which all creation was born. So I have to be really careful when I pray to something outside of myself. So what I've been doing is, when I'm asking for that help, I'm asking from my higher self. Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to reiterate that. Yeah. I love you, Tammy. All right, so Mercury retrograde, let's get into this. This is what we're going to pull some cards on today. We want to see what's coming in. All right, Mercury retrograde in Leo. So Leo is the lion. Leo deals with the energies of self-confidence, self-love, self-expression. Right, so this is where we really tap into that, where we really allow ourselves to shine. So as Mercury goes retrograde in the sign of Leo, this is going to be giving us that opportunity to see where it is that we dim our shine, where it is that we naturally step out of the limelight, where it is that we're uncomfortable being seen. This is also an opportunity to really get to see and understand how it is that we relate with other people, our communication style. There's going to be themes of validation here, themes of the energy of playing to the crowd, themes of needing that reciprocation of our value from others, where it is that we still fall into that trap, where it is that we still define our worth by other people's reaction to us, and where it is that we can begin dialing that energy back, and where it is that we can begin becoming our greatest cheerleader, that we can know our value and exude that energy out into the world, right? Because that's what Leo energy in its highest vibration does. Leo energy shines in its own light. Leo energy is not afraid to share the spotlight with other people. It naturally draws people into its orbit, right? People want to be around Leo energy in its highest vibration because it's infectious and it makes everybody feel good. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody feels like they can relax and become more of themselves. All right? It's leading through inspiring others to be their best selves through that energy of example. That is the highest vibration of Leo energy. And yes, the lower vibration, the energy is the wounded Leo energy, right? That's where we end up with that self-serving type of energy, where the ego is running the show, where it is that we are thinking more of ourselves and not enough about other people, considering other people around us, where it is, like we said, that we are dimming our shine, that we're being afraid to speak our truth. Leo energy, when it is insecure, when it is in its wounded vibration, is either way extra loud or extra quiet. And what's the word that I'm looking for when you shrink yourself down? Whatever that word is that I can't find right now, right? Those are when the Leo energy is wounded. So it's healing those wounds. It's really being able to step into and embrace our own individuality and really let that light shine within the world. I've said that a million times, let your light shine, but that's really truly what it is about. Now, Leo retrograde. Mercury retrograde begins in a sextile to Venus in Gemini. So there's a lot of beautiful creational energy here. There's a lot of inspiration. There's a lot of very social feeling energy to a certain context. With Mercury in retrograde in Leo, we are going to be more sensitive, however, because Leo is a very sensitive sign. They may not admit it, but they really truly are. They want to love and be loved. And when they don't feel that, when they don't get that validation back in their more wounded state, that's where the overcompensation starts to happen. So we want to be aware of that. We want to make sure that we're not overcompensating. We want to make sure with Mercury and Leo in this retrograde that we're not talking over other people. There is an art with Mercury and Leo because Mercury and Leo, people born with Mercury and Leo, they're naturally very expressive, right? They are performers. They really are engaging with their words, with the way that they speak. They can draw people and they have charisma. All right. But this is one of those signs for Mercury where that energy to speak more than you listen can really come out. Particularly with a connection to any planet in Gemini, because Gemini is known for its loquaciousness. All right, Gemini which is another way of saying Gemini likes to talk. And so this is just the purest energy of the signs, right? And obviously each person is different. There's they are their own individual spark, and then they also have all the different aspects in their natal charts, okay? So none of these blanket statements are true for everyone, okay? However, generally speaking, Gemini energy, because it's so excited, because it's so stimulated, it wants to stimulate others, it wants to bounce ideas off of people, it wants to connect, right? So Leo, Mercury and Leo connecting with Venus in Gemini. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of excitement, perhaps a lot of stimulation. And so we're going to have a lot to say. This gives us a really great opportunity, like we said, to practice listening as well as speaking. All right. Like we all know, we all have that one friend, maybe a couple, and they probably do have some Leo or Gemini in their charts. No judgment, just observation. That you talk so much that you can barely get a word in edgewise when you're around them, or who every time you start talking kind of steals the conversation and directs it back to themselves. We all have this friend who does that, and we love them, but we definitely acknowledge where this happens. And so we get to really look at or pay attention to where we're being that friend and have the opportunity to get a little bit quieter, to truly listen. And it can be hard, and it's not the reason that these lovely friends, right, that this one friend does this, a lot of this just has to do with they have a lot to say and they're really excited and they want to share it. And when you start sharing something, that sparks something in them that they want to share with us, and they're so excited that they just start going with it. You know what I mean? And so it's not like they don't want to hear anything that anybody else has to say. It's not that they don't care. It's just that they have so much to share. So this is a great opportunity to notice and be able to dial it back when we find ourselves being that person, and to really fully listen to what the other person is saying. Take the focus off of ourselves a little bit. Mercury retrograde in Leo gives us that great opportunity, because our default setting is going to be for the focus and energy to be on ourselves. What we're thinking about, what we need, what we want, what's going on with us. You know what I mean? Our fears, our insecurities. When we're obsessing about our own fears and insecurities, that's another form of self-obsession. Right? Even the kindest, gentlest person with the greatest intentions, if they are constantly thinking about and worried about, is somebody mad at me? Did I do something wrong? How can I make this right? How can I be liked? How can I be loved? That is self-obsession as well, right? There are lots of different ways. It's not just the person who thinks they're great and everybody should bow down to them because they are, king on earth. It is also, there's lots of ways that we can become lost in self-obsession, lost in ego. And so it's just recognizing that and bringing it back into a balance, bringing it back into an energy where we can shine and allow other people to shine as well. Utilizing our creative gifts for the purpose of creating something beautiful. That's another aspect of this energy, a great gift of Mercury retrograde in Leo as well. There's a lot of inner child healing going on here. There's a lot of inner wounding going on here. And so it's going through that process, allowing yourself to acknowledge where it is. I think a lot of us, and maybe not, I guess I can't speak for everybody else, but I would imagine that many people can relate to this energy of feeling wounded or hurt by something, but not wanting to admit it because there's a judgment around, like, I shouldn't be hurt by this. I shouldn't feel this way. And so it's like allowing ourselves to be honest with, like, what it is that we're truly feeling, right? If we can be honest about that, then we can also be honest of when our reaction, like, we can acknowledge this is what I'm feeling right now, and also acknowledge at the same time, knowledge that that's valid, but also acknowledge, like, I may be blowing this out of proportion, and ask ourselves those questions. What is this really about? That's where you start getting to the meat of things, and that's where the real healing begins. Hello, Wolf Mother. Hello, Tammy's got something going here. Let me see. Yeah, that's powerful, having that opportunity to hold space for people who are grieving or going through these deep and profound life transitions and changes. We got some people with some Leo placements on here. I love it. Love it, love it. D. Yeah. Yeah, active listening. I think that's what they call it, right? When we're fully engaged in a conversation and we're fully listening to what somebody has to say, instead of just waiting for our opportunity to talk, or in the way that some people go about it, just taking that opportunity. Some of us who are more laid back in conversation actually have to do the opposite, right? We have to start interrupting sometimes in order to get a foot in the door, so to speak. I'm a Mercury in Taurus, which means that Mercury and Taurus, our words are powerful, right? They have it's fixed earth, right? So there's a weight to them. Right? Mercury and Taurus can be very powerful communicators, but we're not necessarily big interrupters. You know what I mean? So we have to, what I've had to learn as a Mercury in Taurus is when I need to stick my foot into the conversation, when I need to grab the conversation by the horns, essentially, and steer it, if I'm with somebody who tends to be a dominating force in a conversation. You know what I mean? So we all are going to find out where is it that I don't take center stage enough versus where is it when I, basically take up the whole stage. That's going to be kind of an energy here. Oh, Pisces, love my Pisces. Mercury and Scorpio. Ooh, that's a powerful one as well. That is there's a lot of power to your words. There's a lot of power and intensity to your words. It's like the undercurrent of the words, the vibration of the words is just as important as the words themselves. A deep, keen mind. There's a very powerful mind that goes with Mercury and Scorpio. Oh, yeah. So your moon, Wolf Mother, is conjunct my sun. I love that. That's cool. I'm going to turn up my AC a little bit here, you guys, because I am enjoying my shawl, but it's getting a little hot in here. I had it just on the low fan because it was getting a little too cold. So we'll see. I'm going to make my adjustments and I'll be back. I'll be gone for like 2 seconds. The AC is literally sitting right here. And let me know if the noise is too much. All right. Let's see. Because it's not super loud, But if it is too much, I can always temporarily shut it off. It's not really a big deal. Got a lot of Leo North nodes on here, huh? And Leo risings. My son's a Leo rising. Right? I love that, Joni. I can relate to that. Absolutely. Yep. Thank you, Tammy. Leo, 10th house. Woohoo, love it. Yeah, we got some Pisces energy on here today, too. Love that as well. All right. So, Mercury retrograde will go until August 11th. So just after the Lionsgate portal, we're going to have Mercury stationing direct at 4 degrees of Leo. And this is interesting. On the day that Mercury stations direct, Saturn is also going to be in a sextile with Uranus. Saturn at 1 degree of Aries and Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini. What's interesting is that this sextile, is this the one that repeats itself here? Let me see. There was something that I had observed of a repeating sextile over this year. Give me a second to look into my notes here, you guys. Yeah, Uranus Neptune sextile. So there was one on there'll be one that I just mentioned on the 28th of August with Neptune in Aries and Uranus in Gemini. Then there'll be another one on November 20th. And let me fact check myself here. Yep. But this one's going to have Uranus at 29 degrees of Taurus and Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. And then on June 15th, 2026, we're going to have another one at 4 degrees of Aries and Gemini, respectively. So, and this has to do with the retrogrades, right? Direct, retrograde, direct. So this is really interesting. We have this first of these 3. And so the second one, which is also going to be this year, that's going to be during the new moon in Scorpio. And this first one just happens to be happening on the day that Mercury stations direct. So there's some sort of connection here, most likely, right? Between Mercury's retrograde, bringing something into clarification here, like perhaps some level of clarity that gets sparked, that helps to spark this journey that we're going on with these beneficial connections of Saturn and Uranus. Remember, a sextile is a positive alignment. It is stimulating, right? Speaking of the mind, sextile has a mercurial type energy to it. So it's interesting that it is occurring on the day that Mercury stations direct. Sort of like if we were to give aspects ruling planets, Mercury or Uranus might be the rulers of the sextile. So, and Uranus is involved as well in the sign of Gemini, which Mercury rules. And Aries being another fire sign, right? So this is a sparking of some sort of, it feels like an agreement between Uranus and Saturn. Remember, Uranus is in Gemini. It's going to retrograde. Like we said, the second of these sextiles is going to occur when they're both in retrograde back into the previous sign at that anaretic degree, that 29th final degree of those signs. And then once again, when they're in direct motion, a few degrees later, right? 4 degrees is where they're going to be in 2026 when they come back together again in this particular aspect here. So Uranus enters Gemini. This is a big, big energy. This is a major cycle that is initiating. Saturn in Aries, this is only a few year cycle, but still it's a big deal. So we have air and fire. And we have this stimulating conversation between these two planets that feels like it's saying, what are we going to create together? How are we going to wake people up? And think about Gemini and Aries, right? Particularly that Saturn and Aries, Uranus is saying, how can I help you wake people up to their power? How can we light that fire under their asses? How can we get them going, get them moving, right? What new ideas and inspiration? What new information can we bring through that will jog something within them? And it feels to me like this is like a soul memory. This is a soul code. This is a soul activation. This is an activation of our soul blueprint here. Something that is coming online. Then we're dipping back. We're retracing some energies with Taurus and Pisces here. We're closing something out. We're perhaps revisiting some wisdom that we're going to need from the journey in that previous sign to bring into whatever it is that we're now creating. And what I feel like we're creating, this isn't so much about what we're creating in the outer world. It's about how we're recreating ourselves. This is an energy of self-regeneration, recreation, all right? A powerful alchemy that's going on here. So this is really beautiful energy. I want everyone, if you feel so called, to pay attention to what is crystallizing within your mind, within your being. What is your own internal paradigm shift that's going on during this period from now until August 11th with this Mercury retrograde? And what particularly around August 11th, what realization, what epiphany, what perhaps situation, it could be something in the outer world that happens as well. But like, even if it's something in the outer world, what realization does that spark within? What qualities does that call you to find within your being, right? This is the gift, and this is the gift that we are going to continue to cultivate as Saturn and Uranus meet back in this sextile here throughout this process to remind us. They're gonna come back into these meetups, so to speak, to remind us and to check in on the progression of whatever this powerful, we'll call it like a rebirthing, has initiated within us, this process that's been initiated here. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be really interesting. And as we're going through this, I look forward to hearing from people what it is that's coming up for them. And everyone who's been shouting out your Leo placements, if you have any of these placements in Leo around this 4 degree to 15 degree point, so within this first moving into the second decan of Leo, you're going to be impacted by this retrograde. And if you have any points in Leo in those first few degrees, we'll say like 2 to 8 degrees, or even like 0 to 10 degrees or so, 11, 12, this sextile is going to be happening in conjunction to whatever planet or angle that is. So it's going to have a powerful effect on you. You'll feel it intensely as well if you have any placements in Aquarius around these degrees, because that's opposing this energy. And then squaring, of course, with Taurus and Scorpio. Although this is an aspect that 2 planets are making. So we're talking more about Mercury stationing direct, the end of that retrograde with the 4 Leo energy. The Saturn-Uranus has sextile. That's going to be those first degrees of Aries or Gemini. So those, you'll be feeling that sextile if you have planets or angles right around that very first degree of those signs. And then with Aries and Gemini here, yeah, I'm not going to go any deeper than that. We're just going to keep it simple like that. And we'll look with Aries and Gemini there. Cardinal fire and mutable air. Okay. What else do we want to talk about before we get into the cards here? I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, Mercury is going to be making lots more aspects as it continues to move through its retrograde. We're not mapping them all on here. Molly McCord does a great job of doing that. If any of you don't follow her, I'm sure her Mercury retrograde video goes through all the major aspects that Mercury is going to be making. So go ahead and check her out for that. We're doing it a little more laid back on here. As you all know, I have needed to make some adjustments this summer. I may be making some more, so I may have more time, more ability on my hands to pour more energy into things. But there's a lot of different directions that I'm wanting to pour my energy, right? So for the bulk of what we're going to be doing right now on this channel is going to be these live streams. And then I'm going to be, posting the shorts and maybe a couple little videos here or there. And my new channel, the reality creation channel, that's going to be probably my baby, where I am pouring, because that's where I'm going to be mapping out my journey as I'm moving forward. So this is where we get together, we connect, we talk about the astrology, the energy, the planets, and then we're going to continue on there, moving through our reality creation process for those who feel called to join once that gets started here. But yeah, I just wanted to, put that out there for whoever was wondering, because I know I did a lot more involved videos with the moons and all of this and different stuff. And it's not to say that that's not going to happen again. It's just saying right now, my priorities and where I'm putting my focus, seems like the best way forward at the moment. All right, so the sun's going to enter Leo on the 22nd. So that's our other big energy. As well as Saturn. Ooh, yeah, Saturn, Big Daddy Saturn, stationed retrograde on the 12th. So that was a big energy as well. So we got Mercury in retrograde starting the 17th, 18th, depending on where you're located in the world. We've got Saturn freshly retrograde right now as well. So Saturn retrograde in Aries, this is all about stepping into our power, right? That's what Saturn is teaching us. Saturn is teaching us courage, confidence, how to be the initiator. All of these powerful Aryan energies working with our masculine energy. So this Saturn retrograde is going to be a big one. And we'll tap into that more moving forward as well. Maybe in this video, we'll get a few cards on Mercury retrograde and we'll get a few cards on Saturn retrograde. How does that sound for everyone? Oh no, Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system. You're right, Alessandro. I don't think anyone's arguing with you about that on here. Is anybody saying that Jupiter is not the biggest? That's why. Oh, is it because I called Saturn Big Daddy? Is that where that came from? Honestly, the biggest daddy of them all is the smallest planet, which some try to say isn't even a planet anymore, which is Pluto. Pluto's the biggest daddy of all. He might be the smallest in stature, but he's got the biggest energy. But Jupiter comes close. Yeah, for sure. Saturn, I just meant it in terms of, he's more like the grandfather, I guess. You know what I mean? But potato, potato. Big Papa, says Joni. Oh. You know what song just popped into my head? All right, Saturn retrograde wants to be first. And I guess that makes sense, right? Where Saturn retrograde happened first. We're talking about Saturn. Saturn's like, he's like Mercury goes retrograde 3 to 4 times a year. All right. That's how many times in your lifetime am I going to go retrograde in Aries? A few, depending on how long you live, but not too many. So let's buckle in and let's learn. Let's see what messages Saturn has first. Clear. All right, Granddaddy, that's right. All right, Granddaddy Saturn, what do you want us to know about your retrograde? Okay. Gonna pull from this deck as well. All right. Yeah, I've been going crazy with the gum today. I don't know why. Hopefully that doesn't bother anyone. Clear. Right, Saturn says pull one of these first. Clear. Setting that intention and reaffirming the truth, the divine truth, that the energies that we are channeling and communicating with, the guidance that we are receiving, comes from the true organic blueprint of Saturn. The one true organic energy of Saturn. That is meant to teach us, to assist us in mastering the physical reality. And mastering the lessons of the matrix so that we may evolve out. Through stepping into the sovereignty of our own being. All right, Granddaddy Saturn, what do you need us to know? We've got the Sun, Spirit. We've got the 4th house, Roots. These cards I don't typically read in reverse, but I'm finding that interesting. I think that there's going to be a lot of redefining of our roots here, as far as like what family is to us. Maybe changes for some around family. Maybe issues or tensions within the family coming to a head. For some people, I feel like this is going to be a time where, oh, this is interesting. For some, if there have been major rifts in the family, there's going to be a coming back together. And this is going to be with the ones who are in alignment with you. All right? If they're completely out of alignment with you, they're not going to be coming back into your reality. Or if they are, it's not going to be for the purpose of reuniting and reconnecting your energies. But for some, it's like there's a rift that's going to be healed. And some, it could be people, and this doesn't just need to be blood family, all right, biological family. Although for many I'm reading for, I think that it will be. But this is where there was a rift or something that drove a wedge between you, and you didn't think it was ever going to be able to be healed. You didn't see a coming back together, a reconnecting. But I'm feeling that happening for somebody here. For some people, this is a healing of ancestral trauma. This is a healing of belief systems. Anything within the lineage and the family and the upbringing and the roots that has held you back, that has prevented you from flourishing because of the programming it created in you, because for some of the trauma that you took on within your blood, within your DNA, there's a releasing of that. There's a letting go of that. So this is really powerful. What's happening here? This is the freeing of somebody's ancestors as well. And definitely the breaking of ancestral curses that I'm feeling here. I literally feel like somebody's spirit, like this sun, illuminating. It's like I see it shining so brightly. Your soul light's like shining so brightly that it literally, it's like the shackles are just disintegrating off of your ancestors. That's really powerful. Tell me some more, Claire. What else do we need to know? For some, I feel like the sun's smiling or shining upon your home life, upon your family, if you've been going through struggles. Yeah, speaking of struggles, we got the 5 of Pentacles here with the Queen of Swords. This is cutting out that lack, cutting out that scarcity mentality. This is also for some cutting off people. Interesting, because remember I said some people are going to be experiencing reunions. Some people, this is going to be a time of really needing to cut people off. Could be family members, could be people you once treated like family or once considered family, even though they weren't blood. but that connection no longer feels the same because you're growing and evolving and they aren't. Or vice versa, but probably if you found this channel and you're resonating here, you're probably the one who's growing. A break is what I heard. For some of you, it's like you're needing to take a break from somebody. It's not going to be permanent, but it's like not forever, but it is right now. It's for right now. Yeah, I definitely feel the energy of somebody who's going to be needing to cut somebody off. Somebody, and so I'm feeling multiple things from this. For some of you, this is somebody who's been siphoning your energy. So it's not even necessarily, you may not even see this person in real life. You may have cut ties with this person on a physical level a long time ago. But on an energetic level, you haven't let them go. And the reason that you haven't let them, let me pull back. The way that you can know if you've cut ties with somebody, one of the ways that you can know whether you've released them energetically is, do you still think about them? If you still think about them very frequently, you have not released them energetically. They're still within your energy field. If you feel drained when you think of them particularly, or you feel strong emotions when you think of them, then you definitely have not removed them from your energy. All right? Some people, it's like, you might not have even noticed because you may not think of them that much, but there's still like a fondness, or there's some, and not just a fondness, but like a, Spirit's saying, if I, let's make this really simple. If I said there's somebody that you need to cut off energetically that you haven't let go of yet, and somebody immediately came to mind and you immediately resisted that and were like, no, that's the person. Okay, that's that simple. All right. So, yeah. For some of you, this is somebody in your physical reality. So for some of you, this person has been siphoning your energy because you haven't let go of them energetically. It's like you've learned the lesson, but there's like a level of completion that hasn't happened yet. And that level of completion is finally letting them go, energetically speaking. For some of you, this has to do with somebody in your physical reality that you're literally giving money to, you're giving time to, you're giving excess energy to. So they're either draining you financially, they're draining you emotionally, they're draining your time. And like when I say draining, what I mean by that is there's no give and take, there's no reciprocity within the connection. All right. It's somebody that you're supporting or carrying in some regard. And you're finally realizing that you're not only can you not carry them anymore, you were never meant to. All right, that was your karmic lesson, was learning that it is not your responsibility to carry this person. They have to learn how to carry themselves. They have to learn how to hold themselves. So those are two things I'm getting from this. And the other thing just has to do with, once again, releasing those belief systems around scarcity. And I think there was a question here that I want to make sure. Ha, I love that, Stevie. Oh, I think I answered that. Tammy, you'll know how to ID this person because if that message is for you, you already know who they are. If you don't know who they are, then that message probably isn't for you. And like I said, if a name popped into somebody's head and then you immediately started rationalizing away why that wasn't the person, you felt a real strong reaction to letting them go or not having that connection in your life, either in your head or in real life, then that's probably the person. Yeah. Oh, Tammy. Perfect. Clear. All right, what else here? Setting boundaries is another thing here. For some people, it's not about cutting people out completely, but it's about setting really strong boundaries. Remember, Saturn is the ruler of boundaries. Some people, I feel like there's somebody in your life that you are needing to set really strong boundaries with. The reason you haven't done it yet is because this person was there for you when nobody else was. This person helped you. Maybe even in your mind saved you, right? Nobody saves us, we save ourselves. But people do assist us in that process. Whatever it is that they did for you, however it is that they helped you, you now feel indebted to them. And so even though and that's the lesson, even though you know that this is an unhealthy energy, you're having trouble doing what needs to be done because you feel that level of guilt. And what Spirit's saying is that this goes beyond this lifetime. This is a multiple lifetime energy with this person. Your karma or your role in the karmic healing here is to acknowledge when enough is enough, to set those boundaries, set them with love, but be firm. Realize you're doing this for both of you. You're doing this to end a seemingly endless cycle that's gone on lifetime after lifetime. This is part of, you each are here to teach each other lessons. This is part of the lesson they're here to teach you, is how to set those boundaries. How to realize that just because somebody helps you doesn't mean that you're beholden to them for the rest of your life. Right? Ideally, when we give, we do it without any thought of getting something back in return, right? It's not a tit for tat kind of energy. All right, we give from an overflowing cup. When our cup is overflowing, we don't need anything back because we have everything we need, right? And I'm not even saying that this person did that necessarily. They may not have given thinking that they were meant to receive something in return. It may be completely in your mind. And for some of you, maybe they did. Or maybe they didn't at the time, but maybe now. And part of this is the mental transference, telepathy happens even though we don't recognize that it's happening. If you feel strongly enough that you owe this person, even if they didn't think that you owed them originally, they might feel it now. Because of that telepathic transference here. So you may have created that. They may be mirroring back your own belief. And so that's going to require some sorting out, you know? You may have to explain to them that you don't owe them anything. You know what I mean? That's not going to be a fun conversation. But it's a conversation that some people are going to have. This is all Saturn and Aries, man. This is all boundaries. This is all self-assertion. You can be grateful for what they did for you. You can be grateful for how they assisted you. Without being a doormat, without letting them walk all over you. Without allowing for some type of really, it's almost like and I don't say this, I know this sounds judgmental when I say it like this. It's almost like a parasitic energy is what it feels like, but it's not necessarily their fault. It's because, and this is going to be for some people finding this, perhaps you see this person as maybe less than capable. Perhaps you don't see this person in their highest, in their most powerful and empowered form. And perhaps if you started visualizing them in that form, remember telepathic transference, that would help them to start seeing themselves that way too. So there's a way to have this conversation that is empowering for them, that allows them to know that they are a powerful creator as well, that allows them to step into their own power and sovereignty, that builds them up, not tears them down, but also releases you from this, almost like this imprisonment that you're feeling within this connection. Got the Hanged Man, change in perspective, and the Chariot here. Cancer energy. Anything else before we move on? Anything else for Saturn retrograde here? All right, got the 5 of Swords and the 6 of Cups. So this is interesting. I'm feeling like this conflicted energy about somebody or something from the past. Conflict from the past resurfacing for some. Conflicts popping up in your life that remind you of situations that you dealt with in childhood, that bring up old wounds from childhood or from your distant, or for some maybe not so distant past. Energies where you felt in competition with people, when you once again had to stand up for yourself, or wished you had stood up for yourself but didn't. It's like another opportunity to do it differently now. So just know, if this is happening, whatever, I always ask, how is this serving me? What is this teaching me? Right? Where's the opportunity to grow and evolve? If it's a repeating situation or scenario, what can I do differently this time? Right? We keep getting the same results because we keep doing the same things. Do something different and see what the result could be. I'm also feeling, let's see if I can get back to this here. It was this energy of, oh yeah. For some of you, it's going to feel like you're fighting for a childhood dream. Or you're fighting for your dreams in a sense. For some of you guys, maybe there's a lot of conflict around your dreams. Maybe they're causing your hopes, your dreams, your desires. Maybe they're causing tension or conflict between you and people in your life. Let's get a little more on that. We got the Chariot on the bottom of the deck here still. Tell me more about the Empress. Taurus energy, Venus energy, Libra, Taurus, Libra energy. All right, different energy coming through now. For some of you, this is like the conflict. Some of you will be dealing with interrelational conflict when it comes to your dreams and desires. And there's karma to sort out there. There is, there are lessons to be learned there. There's opportunities to stand in your sovereignty. And so much else, too much else that we can't even get into on this video. So if you're resonating with that part of feeling like you need to fight for your dreams, your desires, your hopes, goals, and dreams, feeling like you pursuing your desires is causing difficulty in your life and you're wanting help sorting through that, book private reading with me. We're not going to go deeper into that because that could literally, we could be here forever reading into that. I'm feeling that that energy goes deep for somebody. All right. But there's also this energy here for some of somebody. Oh, this is interesting. So somebody's going to enlist in some type of competitive, like, competition. And it could be something as simple as a gentle competition where nobody really cares about winning, like, you know, a marathon, right? Or something like that. Something that pushes you. But for some of you, it's like something where you're more directly competing with people, but there's going to be something healing here. Even though you have wounds from childhood around competing and competition. Perhaps your parents were really competitive and they tried to force you into sports or things where you were competing with other people. They really wanted you to win. Perhaps this has to do with just your own fears of inadequacy, or like it could be anything with this, but like it's going to be healthy and healing for you to get involved in some type of competition. You're going to learn how to use that to build yourself up instead of bring you down. I remember we talked in a previous reading about this energy of how somebody was going to learn about a lot about themselves through competition, actually create some new friendships, some new connections, and from competition was actually going to blossom some awesome collaboration opportunities. So that's going to be for some with this energy as well. For somebody else, this is literally like the energy of your positive belief systems and your negative belief systems competing against each other in your mind. So Spirit's saying, what you are birthing, what you are creating, nurture that creation with positive self-talk and visualization. This doesn't mean don't work through the negative beliefs. Don't acknowledge. We need to do that in order to grow. But acknowledge them, set that intention to discard them and to reprogram in, through repetition, some new belief systems. And we're going to delve into all of this stuff a lot more moving forward here, and definitely on my reality creation channel that I am getting ready to create. All right, so stay tuned for all of that. So Saturn retrograde is going to bring up a lot of that stuff for people, as well as Leo retrograde, I'm feeling. Or Mercury retrograde in Leo. All right, for some people too, there's this energy of people competing over you. That's going to be for somebody here with this Empress energy. Yeah. So that's going to be its own individual energy. And I'm also feeling for somebody just randomly, there's going to be energies here with like siblings, competition between siblings, either your own children, or this could be like wounds with competition that come from your childhood and your competition with your sibling, or feeling like you were in competition with them. Something's going to be healed around that. For other people, it's like you're going to be running into difficulty with your actual children, competing against each other, sibling rivalry, that kind of energy here. But this, with the Empress coming out here, this feels really victorious for all of those energies that we just mentioned regarding competition, regarding conflict. There's resolution. There's those ideas specifically, like it's worth digging through those belief systems and really doing that inner work right now, because it's like your mind's trying to talk you out of a great idea. That idea is gold, literal gold. So don't let your mind talk you out of it. Recognize where those limiting thoughts and beliefs are popping up and where it is that they come from. In order for this beautiful harvest here to grow, we have to weed the garden, right? Clear. And always be open and willing to learn something new. And Feral Elf, I would say you're absolutely correct. I would also say that many things can be true at once. Actually, in this reality, in this experience, and probably within all of creation, everything is a paradox. There are always multiple truths and multiple things happening at once. One does not negate the other. Clear. All right. Thank you, Saturn. South Node, karma clearing. Saturn wanted to get one more piece out here. So notice the conflicts coming up in your relationships. The situations, the apparent roadblocks that feel like they're showing up. Right? All of this is karmic. All of these are karmic energies that are ready to be cleared. When Saturn goes retrograde, this is major karmic clearing. So pay attention. All right? Just know that whatever issues you are coming up against, these are not new, and you're getting that opportunity to release them once and for all. Hello, Christine. Clear. All right. Now we're tapping into Mercury retrograde. Clear. Let's get a couple cards for Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde. What do we need to know? Earth element stability coming in. We've got Mars on the bottom of the deck, which is about force, but this is also our masculine energy, our will to create. Something about Mercury retrograde is aiming to increase our sense of security and stability, as well as our sense of empowerment here. Some people, there's going to be major real world, we'll say physical changes occurring during Mercury retrograde. I love that discernment lives in the paradox. So we're going to look at what some of those changes might be. This is also Spirit saying, make sure you root and ground yourself during Mercury retrograde, because with all this fire and air and everything we got going on right now, it can feel especially ungrounding. All right, so we really want to ground. We really want to root in. We want to root down. 8th house, endings, beginnings. Yeah. This is a lot of, I'm feeling like real physical, real world endings and beginnings for people. This is like moving. This is different jobs. This is new partnerships. It's going to be a lot of powerful changes, I feel, for people. This is also, ooh, this is interesting. Spirit saying this Mercury retrograde is going to empower people in the sense of really allowing them to let go of the things they've been holding on to just for the sense of stability and security. There's an opportunity to really find that stability and security within, instead of looking for it outside in the outer world. And remember, the paradox, speaking of, the paradox here is that as soon as we stop looking for it in the outside and we find it on the inside, it materializes on the outside as well, right? So somebody's really mastering that lesson, mastering that sort of concept. Somebody's going within. Instead of, it's like somebody's finally learning the lesson. Go within or go without. If I want to change the outside, I start inside. And that's changing the whole game. There's this real powerful process of rebirthing here, of releasing the old identity. There's like some concrete, real world, physical things that some of us have been attached to, that have prevented us from fully stepping into this next version of ourselves. And something about Leo retrograde or Mercury retrograde, I keep saying Leo retrograde, Mercury retrograde, powerfully moving right into, because remember, the end of Mercury retrograde is during the Lion's Gate portal, right? That's 8/8 for those who don't know. July 26th to August 8th is really like the wider arc of that. The even wider arc of that would be to say that it really began with the Syrian Gateway at the beginning of June. But we'll go with July 26th to August 8th, which is the Galactic New Year as well. All right. So there's a real powerful gateway that we're moving through here. There's some final attachments that are being released so that we can really step into this new timeline, this new version of ourselves that we've been midwifing for quite some time, that is really ready to be fully birthed now. Spirit's showing me that's part of what that Empress energy was all about. And as we do this, as we fully disconnect from the old ego identity, as we surrender that into the flames of transformation and transmutation, something brand new bursts forth, and it's something within this the earthly realm that we've deeply, deeply desired. So this could be abundance for those seeking to manifest that. This could be any number of things, right? Could be abundance. It could be a new job. It could be a new lover, connection, divine connection, soulmate. So many different things here. And I love that we have, so the Mars card, just kind of, I was getting ready to shuffle it back into the deck and it just gently fell off the deck. And what's underneath it? Aries. Doesn't get more Mars than that, right? So this, Mars isn't usually gentle like that. So I think that's interesting how it gently slid off the deck. So there's a softening of our masculine energy here. But with Mars in Aries, you know, that doesn't mean that our masculine energy is diluted by any sense. It just means we're coming, and this is Saturn retrograde energy all over it too, right? We're coming into a better understanding of how to work with that masculine energy. Of how to make it work for us, I guess is one way that we could put it here. This is a reiteration of the energies we already talked about with Saturn retrograde, right? About the competition, right? High vibrational competition. About learning how to get what we want, about conflict. Strengthening of the will through conflict is what I just heard. Those of you out there who try at all costs to avoid conflict, that's not going to work well through this retrograde season. Not with Saturn and Mercury retrograde anyway. The conflict is going to be happening whether you like it or not in some way, shape, or form, because it's pushing you into a higher and more evolved version of yourself. It's showing you what you are really made of. And what Spirit's showing me, though, is that this conflict doesn't have to be with outer people necessarily. Even when it is, even if we're constantly having conflict with people outside of ourselves, it's because there's a conflict within ourselves that is unresolved, right? It's kind of like when we talk about on a collective scale how once the inner conflict gets resolved and we're no longer battling ourselves, we will see peace in the world because of the microcosm, macrocosm, right? So it's that same kind of idea. So all of this leads to a conflict within. But for some people, the conflict within isn't so intense that you're experiencing it as a lot of conflict without. But it's more like the conflict within gets highlighted to the extent that you're able to recognize it and begin to bring some type of balance to it. Where we stop fighting ourselves, fighting that internal battle. We find some way to surrender. We find some way to find a middle ground within ourselves. All right, let's see. One more card here, and then we'll pull a few tarot to close this. Ooh, Grand Trine, blessings. With the Void of Course Moon here too, I definitely feel like some people may be just feeling this sense of kind of like floating in the ethers. You may feel a little more lost during this time. And what I mean by lost is more that the dreams that you once had, the priorities that were once most important to you, a lot of that's starting to change right now. Many of you are having what I discussed at the beginning of this live stream, right? That inner paradigm shift, where a lot of your belief systems, the way you see yourself and the world is changing. And so naturally your goals, your dreams, your aspirations are going to change too. What you want, where you're going, where you're headed, right? So allow for this period of flux. Allow for this period where you feel lost. where you feel like you knew the destination and all of a sudden the GPS is rerouting itself. But it hasn't shown you the new route just yet. So it almost feels like the screen is stuck. Any of you who use a GPS, you'll know that when you take a quote unquote wrong turn, or we should say rather, when you veer off the course that the GPS has charted for you, it has a moment where the screen goes gray and it just says rerouting. Some of us are going to be in that rerouting stage right now. But that rerouting is going to take, it's not going to be as fast as we see on a traditional GPS. It's going to take a little bit longer, possibly throughout retrograde season, particularly Mercury retrograde, maybe even Saturn retrograde. And for those who want to know, Saturn retrograde will complete, let me find my chart here. Of course, there we go. All right. On the 27th of November, Saturn will station direct at 25 degrees of Pisces. All right. And as Saturn moves into those Piscean degrees later in the year, that energy of feeling lost, feeling like you don't have a course anymore, or you don't know how to chart your course, you're being redirected, rerouted, that feeling's going to get stronger. That's all right. Once the process is complete, you will have a new course charted for you by your own soul. Just trust it. Just observe what's going on in this period, in this void. How you feel, what you are drawn to, what's resonating with you that didn't before. What perhaps is no longer resonating with you that once did. Allow yourself to explore where your curiosity is leading you, to become flexible, mutable, adaptable, just like fire and water. Ultimately, what you're being led to is this grand trine, great blessings. And this is grand trine. So trines are blessings or good favor without a whole lot of effort. It's just where it naturally flows. All right, and that's what Spirit wants you to know. You are being rerouted to a way of being that naturally flows. Where it is that you felt like with this Leo energy in reverse, like you had to force it, where you had to push through, whether this is for sure enthusiasm, for sure enjoyment, fake it till you make it kind of energy, whether this is for sure will on situations where you feel like you are climbing an uphill battle, things are going to flow. But you have to allow for this recalibration first and let go of your attachment to the old identity, to the old story, to the old version of you, to the old purpose even. Some of us, our entire purpose or the way that we express that in the world is being rerouted right now. Something new is coming online. I just saw 777 in my mind. 1111. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 222. That's been a big number for me. 2s and 4s. I'm going to close with one angel number card. Woo. Clear. Let's give us a closing angel number or two. All right, we got 420. We got 88 that wanted to flip out there. And 1551. There we go. All right. I saw 55 as I was shuffling too, which is all about changes. So we have 420. This is all about potential. Also, April 20th. I believe we had an eclipse around that time. Some people might want to look back to that time, see what was happening, either this year or last year around eclipse time. Last year was also a leap year. So there's something with that. That was the quantum leap through consciousness that we took. So think back to April, past couple Aprils. Some of you guys, there's a message in some of what was going on then. Those themes are repeating now. Or you're getting a deeper level of understanding of them, or you're going to be coming to a deeper level of commitment surrounding what it is that came into your vision, your consciousness back then. For other people, this is about recognizing your own potential. This is about recognizing your own potential. Some of you are going to be coming into situations that are going to be showing you your potential, sometimes through conflict, sometimes through adversity, sometimes through not getting what you want. It's going to show you how resourceful you are. It's going to show you what you're truly capable of, what you're truly made of, particularly when you align yourself with your higher self. Okay? This is also Spirit saying, see the potential in everything and everyone around you. See everybody in their highest, meaning see them at their highest potential. This doesn't mean ignore when they're not acting that way in real life. Doesn't mean don't set boundaries with people. Doesn't mean see the world with rose-colored glasses. With Neptune in retrograde right now as well, it's really kind of difficult to do that, right? Some of us are masters. We can manage. We can manage to see the whole world through illusion all the time. But that's a whole different story. This is where it's in this energy, it's going to be a whole lot harder to fool ourselves. However, but it's like, but still, when you're interacting with people, see them in their highest. See every situation in its highest potential. See the highest potential within yourself. Know that the world, the universe is full of potential. All just waiting to be tapped into and realized. Remember, all possibilities are possible. Stay open to opportunities and all the different ways that they might present themselves, particularly when they present themselves differently than the way you had anticipated that they would. All right? So it's like hidden opportunities, recognizing the hidden opportunities. 8-8, this is the Lionsgate energy, right? So I love that that came through. It's all about listening to your intuition, your gut, staying in alignment. Aligning with your inner truth, your inner voice, your inner compass. If you are struggling, if you're feeling confused, if you're in that void energy, get quiet, meditate, go within. Tap into that internal GPS. That will never steer you wrong. This is a time where we're developing sovereignty in the sense of like, we're not looking to things outside of ourselves. We're going within to get all the answers and the confirmations that we need. This doesn't mean we're not going to be manifesting them in the external, right? That's what angel numbers are. That's what if I'm saying something that resonates with you in this live stream today, it's because you manifested that confirmation. All right? You manifested that. You created that. Remember that. We got 1551. This is all about dreams, faith, courage, goals, and spirit. So this is co-creating with the universe. This is aligning with your dreams. Staying motivated. It says focus on the positive and stay dedicated to your desired outcomes. It's time to invest your faith and efforts into your ideas and pursue your goals with unwavering determination. Your spirit is both beautiful and courageous. This is about setting goals and following through on those goals. This is all stuff that I'm reading in all of the different books and the videos that I'm watching, the courses that I'm taking, everything surrounding this energy. The importance of goal setting. The importance of knowing where you're going. This doesn't mean that you don't readjust, right? And some of you, like I said, if you're in that void space, you may have no idea where the fuck you're going. And that's totally fine too. All right, but for those of you who have an idea, who are receiving that inspiration, bring that inspiration. Remember, the first card we got from Mercury retrograde was the Earth card, the grounding. Bring it into physical form. When you set goals, when you set intentions, you start grounding in that energy. You start making it real. You start bringing it into the material world. The inspirations coming through right now are meant to be brought into the material world. That's why you are receiving these downloads, these insights right now. All right? Ground them down. One of the things that keeps getting emphasized in the Think and Grow Rich book that I'm reading, it's all about faith, desire, unwavering desire, and unwavering faith mixed with determination. That is the magic formula for success. That's what this energy is all about. Then we got 2244 and 1133. So I love how we got like pairs of repeating numbers here. 2244 in this deck is all about acceptance, surrender, letting go, being adaptable, forgiveness, releasing. What do you want to stay focused on? Do you want to stay focused on the past or the future? That's what I'm feeling from that. Do you want to stay grounded and rooted in the present while looking toward the future? Or do you want to stay stuck in the past? 2 is about harmony. It's about duality. It's about contrast. It's also about partnership. 4s are about stability, consistency, what you are creating, building that foundation. For some of you guys, this is about building a foundation through partnership as well. Whether it's business partnership, whether that's a romantic partnership. And 1133, this is about being at a crossroads. This is about making choices. I'm feeling the Lover's card, Gemini energy here. And this is about the only person who can give you the answers is the person that looks back at you when you look in the mirror. But not the human version of you, necessarily. Your oversoul, your higher self. Sit, meditate, get clear, get quiet. Tune in. Tune out the outer world and tune into your inner world. That's where all the answers you seek are hiding. They're not really hiding. It's just sometimes there's so much noise on the outside or on the inside, right? That it drowns them out. This is all about the decisions that we make. This is the reminder that we make an infinite amount of decisions on a daily basis. We decide what to eat. We decide what to do as soon as we open our eyes. Do we jump up and start scrolling through social media? Or do we breathe? Do we connect with the body, connect with the heart? What do we choose to focus our energy on throughout the day? What do we choose to read? Who do we choose to talk to? Which route do we choose to go to work? Right? All of these things, so many little micro decisions that we make throughout the day. And sometimes big decisions too. Spirit's saying if you can learn to start going with your gut with the minor decisions, you'll start getting into a flow of trusting your gut, and this will help you in the bigger decisions. If we're honest with ourselves, if we take a little bit of time to even just get quiet with ourselves, we always know what we really want. Our ego, our mind might try to talk us out of it, but at the end of the day, we know. So with each choice that you make, with each crossroads that you come to, whether small or large, ask yourself, is this bringing me closer to the vision of me that I hold within my heart, that my higher self, that my soul placed within me? The vision of me that I am here to bring into fruition? Or is it bringing me further away? That simple. And your gut will tell you the difference. If you close your eyes for a minute and imagine yourself, visualize yourself doing each thing, making each different choice, the sensations in your body will tell you which one vibrates or resonates with you. They'll tell you which one to choose. Your body is a great tool of your intuition if you know how to listen. On the bottom of the deck, 606, this is all about truth, honesty, responsibility, expression, and commitment. Opening your heart to receive, speaking your truth. Being honest with yourself and others about what you think, who you truly are, what you really want. final message or thought that's coming through, I'm just going to hold this up here for some, is that somebody here has something important they need to speak to somebody else. And Spirit's saying, you haven't shared whatever this thing is with this person because you've been afraid about being abandoned, betrayed, rejected. But it's really important to speak your truth. Pick the right moment. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like for some people, it's like, don't just blurt it out at a really inopportune moment. Feel into it with your intuition. You're going to know when the moment arrives. You're going to feel it in your gut. You're going to feel it in your heart. Your ego, your mind's going to try to talk you out of speaking it. But when you feel that moment, when your soul says it's time, share what it is that you need to share. Something tells me that it's going to be much better received than what you imagine. Love you. All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, absolutely, Joni. The little things are really big things, right? In many senses, in many ways. We got some random conversation going on in the chat, huh? I love that. I'm a big fan of mint, particularly peppermint. Hello, Kiki. David. Yep. Mint, watermelon, apple, and ginger. Is this like a bloating tea or something? What are we talking about here? Hello, Tadant. D. Just saying hi to everyone before we... Keyshawn vibes. Oh yeah, interesting. Oh, good for you, Joni. Rosemary, I see you on there. Luca, Dead Tree. Alessandro. All right. I love you guys so much. Thanks for being here with me today. I appreciate you infinitely. Ashley Rose. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Next week, depending on what happens later this week, I may need to cancel or reschedule, so I will let you guys know as soon as I know. We may end up doing an evening live stream at some point next week, depending on how things shake out. Or it may be just an impromptu, like I hop on live whenever I get an opportunity to kind of thing. I will, like I said, I'll let you guys know as I know. Maybe it would be cool if we got to do it. What do we have? We have the sun entering Leo, and then I think we have the new moon in Leo. What is that, on the 24th? Let me check my calendar. I think it's on the 24th. Yep. July 24th, 12:11 Pacific time. So that would make it 11:11 Central time, right? So maybe we'll do something for that. Well, we'll see. Whenever the live stream's meant to be next week, it'll be. And maybe it will end up being on the regularly scheduled time. Just depends on, like I said, depends. I love you all so much. The live started at 2 p.m., Alessandro. Sedona is for the 999 portal, so it's going to be, the meetup is going to be from 9/9 to 9/13, and those who are doing the full Airbnb experience, retreat experience with me, it's going to be the 8th to the 12th. For the meetup, essentially, it's you can get a ticket for that, and then we'll send you where we're going each day, and we'll just go together. But people doing the meetup will be supplying their own lodging, as well as everything else. And those who choose the full experience will be staying in an Airbnb with me. We'll be doing some fun more exclusive activities in the evening times. And there'll be really like an extra day or a half day. I guess 2 half days, so almost like a full extra day. And the information to that, Annika put the link in the chat. It's also in the description box, and I try to add it to the comments of as many videos as I can, so I'll do my best to remember to add it to the comments of this particular video. You can find out more about it, more about the 2 different options, and you can sign up for either option if you feel so moved to do so. And of course, I offer personal readings. I offer astrology readings, galactic astrology readings, natal transit chart readings, tarot readings. I offer all different types of energy healing to support you in your own self-healing process. So this would be Belvespita, angelic healing of the heart, Reiki healing, entity removal, past life regression, quantum healing. If you are interested in any of those things, one-on-one coaching, all of the information for that is on my website, which Annika has also posted in the chat, and which is also in the description box of all of my videos. You can tell I've said some of these things a time or two. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful week. And let's kick ass during these retrogrades. Let's learn what we came to learn. Let's grow. Let's release those soul contracts. Let's clear that karma. We don't have to really do a whole lot except show up as the best version of ourselves that we are capable of being in any moment and every moment. That's going to vary moment to moment. Yes, exactly, Feral Elf. 2 p.m. Eastern time. I get that. I think in all those different ways too. What is backwards, right? Who's to say what's forward or backwards? That's only one person's perspective, right? All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Oh, and I know we didn't do a crystal card. I'm going to cut the deck here, and I'm just going to show you a card for the week ahead. Malachite for clearing. Utilize that malachite to help in your clearing and purging work. And obsidian for self-reflection. One thing that I learned, black obsidian, it will show you the truth and nothing but the truth. All right, if you want something gentler, more self-acceptance, self-love, self-healing, go with brown obsidian or mahogany obsidian, they call it. And there's also rainbow obsidian, which you'll have to delve into that if you feel called to that. Rainbow obsidian, what else? There's more too, actually. I'm being shown. There's a black and white obsidian too. There's Apache tears, which is a type of obsidian that helps with healing grief, particularly. And there's also like a, what is it? Not gray or white obsidian, but what's the one I'm thinking of that's black and white? Ooh, that would be powerful, Feral Elf. You got a crown. I'm not sure what that crown means. Does that mean that you commented the most in the live stream? I think so. Okay, yeah, I see that. Feral Elf, and then we got Stevie, Ploon, Joni, Annika, Dee, and then David, and we keep going down, so that must be interaction during the live stream. That's cool. Yeah. I can't think of what the, oh, thank you, Joni. I got to get them redone. They're a little bit old now, but I appreciate that. Anybody who does their nails, isn't it always funny how you get so many compliments after they're kind of like older, like when they're on their way out? I can't think of what the black and white obsidian is, but I feel like there is one that's black and white too. But yeah, black obsidian is great for shadow work. But brown obsidian is gentler, so it's more for self-acceptance, self-love. I feel like grounding and stabilizing energies or healing into the vessel is what's coming through right now. Clear. Mahogany obsidian, which I think I keep calling brown obsidian, was the first crystal that got me back into crystals again, or reignited my love for them. So I have a soft spot in my heart for mahogany obsidian. It's very sharp though, so I loved my mahogany obsidian so much that I used to sleep with it. Just gave me the sense of comfort. So I used to sleep with it in bed with me, and my boyfriend at the time was not impressed with that. I think he got stabbed quite a few times. Mariah, yes, snowflake obsidian. I do believe that is it. Yes. Yeah. Clear. So that one has the light and the dark in harmony, right? Black and the white. So there's power there. Celestial quartz, for those who are curious. Angelic truth, that's what I shuffled to at the end there. Clear. Malachite from Michael. Yeah. No, malachite's powerful. Clear. That's definitely an ancient Egyptian stone. Malachite and obsidian, actually. So they have connections to Egypt as well. All right. I love you so much. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye. Yes, snowflake obsidian. Yeah, any of the obsidians. Just see what you're particularly drawn to and go with that. Yeah, exactly, Joni. And what does that tell us, right? When, like, the least effort we put into something is where we get the compliments, right? Just being ourselves. That's it. When we're just ourselves, when we just allow ourselves to be natural, right? That's when we're at the most radiant. If that isn't like a sign of that, I don't know what is. Well, I would love to see you in Sedona, Feral Elf. That would be wonderful. Yes. All right. Bye, guys.